Welcome everyone to the NGES Ramazan Esports Fest. And Talha, honestly, like when you and I were hired for this, I got very excited because I was like, okay, we're doing a Ramazan transmission. This is sort of the direction we're going in. And then I just started sort of visualizing like, okay, maybe I'm going to be standing on top of a car and throwing like prizes or something at people. But then I realized, oh, never mind. I'm just going to be in a studio. So how are you, man?
I'm good. I mean, I always look forward to these tournaments. I was here last time around when Next Generation Esports Studios held another tournament previously. Although that was Valorant, so I'm particularly.
Yeah, don't worry. We still have the whole Valorant thing going on right now. I'm not gonna lie. This looks a little too Valorant.
My point is, I'm excited about the fact that there's a smooth transition. They're adding more and more games. They're regularizing the whole thing where you have this thing going on, and like every Ramazan you have something to look forward to.
Yeah, something to look forward to for sure. But I mean, at the end of the day, right? It's not about the tournament. It's not about anything. It's about the game, and it's about the teams, right? So what do we have on our plates here? We've got Team Wawa versus Team Guardian 5 for the grand finals today. But before that, I do quickly want to look at the brackets because obviously there's been a bit of a journey, right, Talha? There's been a journey that all these teams have been going through, and the reason they've been going through this arduous journey is for that prize pool. I mean, it all comes down to the money at the end of the day, and that is 30,000 rupees up for grabs. So pretty decent prize pool, I'd say.
It is a pretty decent prize pool, especially it's not a LAN event; it is an online event, so it's very decent for considering that. And if you take a look at the brackets which we'll be seeing shortly, I think we can all agree that Team Wawa is by far the strongest team in this tournament. And I think the brackets will show that they've pretty much had a smooth journey since the start, having not lost any of their matches. And now they're up against Guardian 5, who will have a very tough time against them.
Yeah, honestly, heading into this, Wawa was sort of the team that is... it's a bit of a behemoth, actually, within the Pakistani scene. I'm not gonna lie, CSGO in Pakistan, a little bit dead recently, right? But these are the guys that have stuck around for the longest time. These are the guys, when anime CS came out, they're like, we're not switching over to that game. We don't care if you're throwing a bunch of money at us. We're gonna stay on that game, and we're gonna continue to push on through. And that's exactly what they've done. I mean, I played against these guys. They beat the crap out of me in some qualifiers. I mean, some of the guys on their teams, I've lost 1v1s to them, 2v2s to them. So like, there's a bit of history, so I'm going to be a little biased. I'm going to look forward to Wawa for every round that they end up losing, because, these guys have personally defeated me on the server. But yeah, all jokes aside, we are going to be moving straight to the map Vito soon. I believe that is actually already up on the screen. So first pick, Mirage by, I believe that is Team Wawa. Inferno being picked up by Guardian 5. Nuke and Anubis being banned out. And the decider is Ancient. So I'm actually a little surprised that it comes to Ancient because, a lot of teams have been avoiding it, sort of. And I think this is doubly true when you look at the Pakistani scene. They try and step away from it. But then there's also the idea of developing this sort of in-meta where you try and pick a map that other people are uncomfortable with, you sort of get into each other's heads, and lo and behold, you end up on a map that both teams don't really want to play.
Yeah, and I'm a bit surprised about some of these bans over here. Overpass and Nuke both banned out. I would assume that Team Wawa would have no problem playing up on Nuke. It's for a team of their caliber, for a heavily CT-sided map. It's just, it will be very easy for them to secure the majority of the rounds in that map.
Yeah, honestly, knowing the way Wawa has all of that synergy, I would have really liked to see them play Nuke because this is where they have everybody else beat. Yeah. When you're heading into sort of a scene where people have largely stepped away from the game, you've got them beat on chemistry. You've been sticking around the whole 2 years when the scene was starting to go down, and now you've got the upper hand, so might as well take advantage of it, right? But they've gone for some relatively more basic maps.
Yeah.
We're going to be seeing Mirage, we're going to be seeing that classic Inferno. So there used to be the idea of having the unholy trifecta, Dust 2, Mirage, Inferno, but Dust 2 is simply not on the cards anymore, so there's no chance we're going to be seeing that. Instead, it's going to be Ancient. It's a little Dust 2, as I'd like to say, because it's also just as undimensional or one-dimensional as Dust 2 is.
Yeah, definitely. But we're going to have to see if whether or not it'll even go to a game three, because Guardian 5, like I
Oh, yeah,
said,
that's,
they have a pretty tough matchup. Of course, for us, you and I both love to root for the underdog. I'm sure the viewers
Yeah,
love to
for
root for
sure.
the underdog as well, particularly because decider maps are just so fun to watch. Especially when a weaker team manages to squeeze out that game three against a
Yeah.
far superior team. That's always a delight to see.
Absolutely, and you know what? That just makes for a better storyline anyway, right? I mean,
Yeah.
when the underdog starts winning, it evokes a different kind of emotion. When sort of the top dog is winning, you're like, okay, that's sort of what we expected. I guess they've got more fans and they won, sure. But when the underdog starts winning, there's just more total emotion. Yes, a lot of people are mauling that their favorite team is losing, but it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, I care more about the story. I don't really care about the end.
I mean, if you remember, of course, it's a different game, but a lot of these players play both Valorant and CSGO. But if you remember, over the course of, I would say, 1.5 years, we saw the rise of Clarity Esports, how they started out from the bottom and then they made their way to the top, finishing off at GXR in second place. So that was a treat to see. They gained so many fans. They beat out teams that they were never supposed to win against. So that's something, seeing the rise of a team through consistency, through teamwork, through practice, that's very rewarding.
Yeah, for sure. And it's even more interesting when you're looking at a team that isn't quite rising, rather as opposed to, let's say, sort of maintaining and sticking around for the long haul, because that's what Wawa has done, right? If you look, the parallels you're drawing between, like, let's say, Valorant teams, I don't think they're sort of true in that sense, because Clarity, they rose to the ranks in a scene in Pakistan that was already quite saturated at the top, right? There's not too much room at the top. But Wawa, they're like, you know what? All these new kids on the block, they're going to leave the game. We're going to stick around. We're in it for the long haul, and we're going to reap the rewards. And that's what they've done. I mean, they qualified for IESF as well, so that's an international tournament that they're going to be playing. So definitely the most accolades right now as far as the Pakistani CSGO team is concerned.
Yeah, and speaking of the Pakistani CSGO, we have Tea Time, who is also going to be costing, for an international event. So I didn't want to give that a little shout out. So, all around in the international scene,
it's like 2023 is like looking really good now. We've got a guy going to
stepping up.
We've got a guy going to the RMR. We've got tournaments like this one. We've got Team Wawa. They're gonna have some international representation as well. So that's going to be something new for the CS scene, because ever since COVID, everything's sort of been downhill, and it seems like I'm talking about ancient times now when I talk about COVID, but realistically speaking, that effect just continued to seep in, and we've just continued to see a decline in all sorts of esports titles, little industries, and all that. And I'm really glad that we're starting to make a mark once again.
Yeah. We will be heading into the game very shortly. I believe the map has started. But for us, what do you think the scoreline will look in the first half?
Okay, that's a bit of a pointed question. I'm not gonna lie. It's like, okay, tell me the result of the game right now. No, but on a serious note, heading into this game, like I think everybody's sort of leaning towards Wawa, right? Everybody knows for a fact that they've stuck around, they've done their homework, they should be reaping their rewards. But that is a bit of a hypothetical. And you know what? This is where I'd like to shine a bit of a light on Guardian 5 as well. And although their players haven't really been sort of the players that have ever stuck around in the pro scene, they actually have also been part of that player base that never really migrated from CSGO at any point. Some of the notable names that come to mind, we've got Ion, we've got Weedfly, we've two players that have actually stuck around, and they're relatively high elo players as well. Now, I'm not going to sit around and act like there's some sort of mysterious angle to this team building or anything, because frankly, I don't know, okay? Have they been around as a team? Who the hell knows? But I do know for a fact that there's definitely some individual skill there that they can put together. Perhaps we see a good showing against Wawa. And you know what? When you're looking at a scene like this one, where there's nobody that's actually even realistically contending for a higher tier within the top echelons of Counter-Strike, there's always going to be room for error, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be a puncher's chance even for teams that you would generally count out. And I'm giving a puncher's chance to teams that aren't even close. But Guardian 5, I mean, there's a reason they've made it to the
Yeah.
finals, so I wouldn't
Definitely.
count them out at
And-
all.
And I do see a trend in particularly in the FPS esports scene in Pakistan, where regardless of how strong of a composition there is, each and every team that makes it past the semifinals has at least one player that has the ability to clutch out, has at least one player that does perform. We've seen, in Valorant we had all of them. Arrow Esports, they had Godchild, Clarity Esports. They had multiple players, all of Exploit. Salt Esports had Darky, Salt Esports had Jivix. So each team has the star-studded quality that they need. Now, whether or not that will be enough is obviously only a question that time will answer. But we should be expecting to see at least a healthy amount of competition coming out here.
Yeah, I would think so as well, especially, when you're playing maps like Mirage, Inferno. These are maps that have just historically been drilled into the heads of Pakistani players. Hell, not just Pakistani players, CSGO players in general. So it's always a bit strange seeing a team that has a lot more experience pick a map that they can get one-upped on, right? So it's not exactly going to be a very one-sided affair by any means. You and I, we probably have thousands of hours on Mirage and
Yeah.
Inferno. You and I have a puncher's chance if we head into the server. I mean, I'm not a great player by any means. You're worse. I'm gonna call you out on that. I know you're great at Dota, but you don't get any credit for CS. But Mirage and Inferno, that's always gonna be a tricky scene. Thousands of hours of experience on everyone. Everybody's got a chance to punch. Unfortunately, we're not going to be seeing those punches come out just yet. There is going to be a bit of a technical delay, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in just a bit. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. Apologies for the short break. I'm not really sure what was going on in terms of the technical issues, but hopefully we should have all of that sorted. Now, Talha, any final thoughts before we head into this game? Wawa versus Guardian 5.
I mean, I just hope we get to see a good game, and if we're lucky, we'll get to see a game 3.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's always a bit of a tricky situation to be in. You're casting a relatively heavy underdog matchup. You want it to go to a game 3, but part of you knows it might not, so it can be a little sad. Hopefully, that's not going to be the case. I really do want to see Guardian 5 sort of clawing some eyeballs out, even if they aren't able to make it to the top. And who says they aren't going to? They like we said, puncher's chance, all that. Doesn't matter, though. We're about to head straight into the game because all of those questions are finally about to have answers. Now, do not be confused. Wawa's actually the team that is on the T side. It's going to be Guardian 5 starting off on the CT. The names are still a little messed up on the HUD, but we should be able to get that sorted in just a bit. T side getting ready for Apartment's presence as well. Bomb still waiting all the way outside ramp, so not really a huge commitment just yet from the side of Wawa. Okay, there we go. HUD's now all nice and propped up. But it is going to be a relatively slow round. Guardian 5, they've got all their chips sort of cashed in on the A site. So if this does eventually turn out to be a default that converts into A, that's going to be something they're ready for.
Yeah, and Wawa, they seem to be moving entirely in that direction. The smoke does get popped, but Guardian 5, they managed to get the first pick out, the second pick as well.
Ooh.
And this attack has completely failed from Wawa's side. 4-0, with only one player remaining. His location is revealed. He does manage to get one pick, 2 picks. Not really what we're expecting with a Glock, but he's in red HP, so he'll be going down as well.
Executor. 1 on 3. I mean, he's got a Glock, not a whole lot of health to work with, and there's 3 pistols he's staring down the barrel of, so...
If he managed to take down Arham over here, I would call that a win, considering how their round started out for them.
Yeah, unfortunately, just sort of looking for any tiny victory he can before he falls in this case. But yeah, eventually turns out to be the round for Guardian 5. Nice little pickup from HF there at the end as well. So, okay, we're starting to get the ball rolling already, and that's something I was a little worried about for Wawa, and also a hurdle that I really wanted Guardian 5 to get past at the start. Because a lot of the time, the difference between these teams can just be the mental, right? And if you can get past that first round, you get to the point where you're sort of just mowing down the enemy with the upgraded weapons, you're going to be in sort of a decent headspace for the rest of the game. Get that extra, those 3 bonus rounds out of the way already. See that number light up, see Wawa on 0 rounds. You might be able to have a bit of a head start in terms of the mental game. But Deagles have been brought out. A Galil on Insmutje as well. A fair bit of investment into the util as well. Ayan, he gets picked off initially in connector. Weedfly might have to peek soon to try and help out. There's a lot of space they've been able to give up, but Weed is able to even out the numbers. Brought back down to a 4-on-4. Freaky, though, opens things up with a nice shot onto Arham. Melkor not revealing his position just yet. Whiffs with the MP9. But it does eventually circle back to being a kill for him. Is able to pick up a second one as well. Executor and Bullet. Now with Bullet having an M4 in his hands, they've got a very reasonable shot at the round. And they've got a bit of a sandwich setup as well. 1 player in ramp, 1 in jungle. They've got the position on Melkor, but he's making that MP9 work like an M4. Gets second player as well. Executor stands no chance there. Melkor basically saving the round.
Yeah, I did not expect Guardian 5 to win that round, particularly when they lost the guns that they bought. And Wawa, I would say they whiffed that round, because they might have started out with Deagles, but they ended up with the M4s and the FAMAS, but they still managed to lose out.
Now, the Eagles still have been brought out by Wawa. They've had a fair bit of damage, so they can still sort of put themselves in the position where they can buy down to 2,000, with the exception of Insmutje. I'm not really sure why there's that kind of commitment from him, but that just might be because they're quite okay with losing out the money because they're okay with having him on a Mac 10, perhaps. But at least they've got a nice little opening here. Bring it down to a 5-on-4, and a lot of space is being given up by Guardian 5 as well. There's really only 1 point of defense here on the A site, and he's about to potentially get overwhelmed. Ayan, he's got 2 angles to fight back against, and Smudge, instant refrag, bullet lands one through the head of HF as well.
This guy really likes his long-range MP9. And he managed to make it work as well, so...
Oh, no, you're confusing him for Melkor, unfortunately.
Oh.
Yeah, it was Melkor the last round, not Aram, but close enough. Switches over to the M4 anyway, so... A good chance of the 1v3 here, actually, because he's up against OK, Bullet, and Smudge, who don't really have a whole lot of HP to work with.
I think Bullet should be switching up his M4. He's only on red HP. He'll die with 1 shot. Could potentially...
Yeah, I mean, I get where you're going with the idea of passing over the weapon to somebody, but look at their positions, right?
I mean, they have the time.
Yeah, but I think they're sort of just toying with the idea, like, okay, does Aram instantly try and go for the retake? They don't want to be stuck in the position where they're exchanging hands in terms of weapons, and they end up getting shot.
Little do they know, he doesn't plan on going for the retake at all.
Yeah, doesn't even bother. Wants to make sure he sticks to that M4. And it's interesting enough, they're able to get that round off the back of just deagles. So, I mean, I'd like to say that this is really well played by Wawa, but obviously some of that element also goes to just Guardian 5 not having a great CT side defense there. They leave 1 player on A, and the 1 player that is actually holding down the fort on A, he's not playing from CT, so he can't rotate all the way back, he can't get back up. He's sort of stuck in between a rock and a hard place where he's watching for connector, he's watching for stairs, watching for the cross as well, not proactively peeking ramp either, so doesn't have a whole lot of information to work with. Now, Guardian 5, they're banking on being able to get the information courtesy of Aram and Melkor making these MP9s work. Okay, Aram's able to creep up. Melkor's MP9 starts to dial in the numbers as well. Okay, is able to respond with a bit of damage onto Weedfly, but slowly but surely, Wawa, their HP is chipping down. Okay, being brought down to red. Molotov to try and keep them at bay. But keep in mind, the bomb is all the way back.
Yeah, and that's not really a good sign, but you know, they're managing to find the frags over here, and they have plenty of time to go back for that bomb. They know what 1 player is, unfortunately, and now it's turned into a 2v2. But the information is in favor of Team Wawa, as they know that the B side is heavily guarded, so the bomber will most likely make his way on to the A side. And meanwhile, Bullet will be in places to intercept any rotating players.
Still plenty of time to work for them. Able to get a comfortable bomb plan, but Melkor's actually gotten himself in a pretty decent position. That's a jump that he could not afford to miss. That's enough of a heads up for Freaky to be able to line one in between the eyebrows. Freaky's able to get a second one as well, and that's the round for Wawa.
And now 2-2. I mean, we're seeing from the second round, we saw some, you know, lapse in strategy from Guardian 5. And even though Team Wawa lost out on the second round, I think they did play just a little bit better than Guardian 5, particularly because they had those deagles. And their strategy, you know, peeking together and their rotations are much better than Guardian 5.
I mean, this is just expected to be a bit of a throwaway round here for Guardian 5. They've got a couple deagles in there, but realistically speaking, Wawa should be able to put a lid on this. That last round actually got a little scary, to be honest.
Yeah.
Guardian 5, I really thought they were going to be able to slip that one away, but unfortunately, Guardian 5 aren't looking as competent with the pistols as Wawa did.
These guys sure do love their sniper pistols.
Wawa definitely did a solid job on the Deagles there previously. And I was talking a little bit, I spoke of the idea of having a head start in terms of the mental game if you're able to get the first couple of rounds, but if you end up losing to pistols after that, if you're not able to really claw anything together, that can work the opposite way. You get a bit of a head start, and when that's taken away from you in a worse position than just having lost a pistol round is, that's a little rough.
Particularly when, as we saw Guardian 5, they're relying on this niche strategy of trying to, backstab some of the Team Wawa's players, which doesn't always work out every time.
Yeah, but they've already made an entry into the bomb site, though. Freaky and Bullet able to get 2. Executor staying true to his name and locking down middle as well. And this already puts Guardian 5 out of commission. There's not really a whole lot they can do about it. They try and fight back from Connector, but by the time they actually get back into the driver's seat, well, not even in the driver's seat, realistically. They're sort of in the passenger, clawing at the head of the driver. But Arm's really the only one that can fight back, right? He's got the op, he's got the health, and by the time we start having that conversation, it's already GG in terms of the round. So
I like Melkor though. He went to the mid side just to pick up the M4 with the better skin, and then went back. Those are priorities.
I don't like for some reason I don't believe you. I think he might have.
I'm telling you, he already had an M4.
I think he might have been switching the A1 to an A4. That might be. That might be a thing.
That could be it. Perhaps I'm. How should you say? How do I say it? Projecting, because that's something that I would have definitely done.
Definitely. You need counseling.
I mean, these skins, man.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. We're all just playing CSGO for the marketplace at this point. Executor not able to connect anything initially. Nate comes through. And this time around, they're going to be wary to the things they've been cooking up from underpass, and that is painful. That's 2 players off the bat. Sent home. Guardian 5 now, they're going to have to try and make these Deagles work around the AWP, but Artem sort of realizes that this is a losing cause here to try and make this op work, so just wants to recede back into B.
I really don't think it's going to be possible with just 1 op and 2 Deagles. You really need some, unison strategy to make it work, which I find is quite lacking with Guardian 5 at the moment.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. This is not about the strategy. This is just about being stuck on pistols. Not really anything you can do off the back of Deagles right now. I like Ion's cheeky effort here. He snuck into ramp with a Deagle, but then he also over-aggresses. He tries to get a little bit too much info, peeks his head out, and unfortunately, there's a barrel waiting for him on the other end. Now, HF has actually narrowed down the search for the AWP, so this makes it exponentially harder to get out.
That sacrifice was totally worth it. I mean, it was a confirmed kill once he took that shot.
Yeah.
And now back to the M4s. And another op picked up. Team Wawa, this time they're choosing to make their way on the mid side. Team Guardian 5, they do have an op, and it looks like it's going to be a very heavy clash with 1-1. But Team Wawa, they are going to come out on top. Now there is an opper in the windows there.
NJ. Nice little collection there, brings it down to the 4-on-2. And again, Guardian 5 are looking very overwhelmed. One of these players stuck in CT spawn. The other one rotating through as well, trying to make it a double up. But before they can actually start pulling the trigger, Melkor, he's already in a melting pot. Ooh, surprised that HF actually is able to react to that. Okay. Still, doesn't end up working out at the end of the day. It's Muche before he can even get those numbers dialed in. Melkor will be taken care of. Wawa, very strong start, and Guardian 5, they've not been able to get anything on the scoreboard other than those initial 2 rounds. And don't get me wrong, that pistol, that was great. That 3-man setup on the CT side, nothing that Wawa could have said about this. But after that, they've had a lot of conversations, and they seem to be coming out on top of the debate.
And I mean, I do not believe that they've been able to win a single gun round so far, which, you know, is quite telling of the state of the game.
Wawa slowly creeping up into connector now. Not really any informational plays here from Guardian 5, so they don't have a clue of what's about to come through. Just a basic 3-2 setup with the Deagles, just trying to focus on hitting their shots. You know, the good old tried and tested strategy of just click head. Slow creep into short. Wawa's being very meticulous, not wanting to make any mistakes here. Two players creeping up on short now. Lee is waiting on the other end. That Deagle not looking too damn accurate. And the final player stuck on the bench. Fortunately, he's going to stay on that bench, but he's going to be dead instead.
Guardian 5 quite slow on those rotations, you know, when you have so much information, when you've already spotted 2+ players rushing into the site, that's usually when you want to, you know, rotate some of your players on from the A side to the B side, but...
Yeah, maybe I would have liked to see them just go for a bit of a gamble. Just try and commit some of those Deagles, even if it doesn't end up working out, because if that's sort of just the nature of having a pistol round, right, or an anti-eco or something of that sort. If you don't go for the gamble happens for you anyway.
Yeah.
And it's a much steeper gamble. Having a stack, probably a better chance than just trying to take your chances with an even fight with the pistols, which hardly ever turns out to be even.
A third op, and in fact, a double op coming out from the side of Guardian 5.
Okay. Refrag instantly there, courtesy of OK. Smoke being deployed as well to give him some mobility, but this time around they're actually mowing down some heads. 4-on-2, OK and Executor. They're going to have to try and fight back here. Executor, great shot onto Ayan, brings it down to the 2-on-3, and there's a whole lot of space that they can work off the back of because there's a player that's been sneaking in around jungle. There is a two-man CT setup, and OK peeks with the flashback from Executor. That is a beautiful play, but unfortunately, OK instantly gets punished right after. Executor trying to narrow it down to the 1v1s, is able to get one. They jump up on top of the box, and that 2v4 is it just ends up being won out by Executor.
Guardian 5 should not have won that round. I mean, the Guardian 5 should have won that round, sorry. Wawa, I mean, despite the fact that he had to take out 2 players at the same time, Executor still managed to come out on top. I mean, that's simply a mistake that Guardian 5 cannot allow to happen.
But I want to bring your attention to what they did there. Executor and OK, they had their coordination on point. When OK wanted to peek from Palace, Executor had a flashbang lined up from jungle. As soon as it pops, OK knows that's the cue. And because those two players are so confident that this is a relatively late round, the utility is not going to be great, they get caught out by that solitary flashbang from Executor, and it ends up working out perfectly.
And now 8-2. It's certainly becoming quite impossible for Guardian 5 to regain any sort of tempo. They have no economy to play with. Just stuck on pistols and those MP9s.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's been a bit of a recurring theme because they've not been able to get their money up, as rappers of this day and age would say. Get your money up. Yeah, this measly MP9 is definitely not paying the bills here. Never mind then. Apparently $900 in the bag. Well, 600 actually. What am I saying?
Okay, I mean,
a little too much damage than they bargained for, but I mean, at this point, the reason why we're going for this, they're like, we're in the money. We've got money to burn. 11K on Smudge, 10K on Bullet, Freaky around that 7K mark, Executor. Okay, you know, they've got tons of money to burn. And by the end of this half, they're not going to know the difference about those AKs. Even if they can get that MP9 out of his hands, that's all that matters. Is it bad that they end up giving up a lot of money to the MP9? Sure, but in the position while we're in right now, they're not really counting the dimes. They're only counting the dollars.
Yeah, and I mean, the round deficit that Guardian 5 really face, if they don't at least win out on a couple of these rounds, you know, at least come out, win the next 3 rounds, it's going to be very difficult for them to play, and we're going to be seeing a very comfortable win by Team Wawa.
Okay, I guess we're seeing a match pause. I'm not sure if this is by Guardian 5. Actually, I think this might not be a tactical timeout. This might just be a technical one, because it doesn't really say that a team has particularly called it. Okay, there we go. That's out of the way.
Do you think that those 5 seconds gave them enough time to figure everything out?
Listen, man, you're asking them to undo a decade of not practicing in 5 seconds. Like, I don't know how to tell you this, but... Great little setup here on middle, though. They commit 2 players, and this is something they struggled with previously because they didn't have great spacing when they did try and peek out of the connector. But the response from Wawa is great as well. They realize there's an overcommitment in terms of player resources over towards middle, which is why they instantly send out Executor over towards B, because he knows that he can isolate those duels. Great adjustment from Wee to quickly tuck himself into get right and make it a favorable duel, but the bomb is still in possession of Wawa, so OK, again, has a chance at a clutch. Not a great chance, but a chance is there.
I mean, I think Guardian 5 in those 5 seconds made up for at least like 3 years of practice.
Ooh. A little shot from OK. Now, that's still a little problematic here from Guardian 5. I'm not sure why he doesn't have any insurance policy watching over his shoulder. But that player on the stairs, completely unaccounted for. OK simply not ready for him, and that yields around for Guardian 5. Now, that's not a whole lot of rounds to be working with. You're on the CT side. You definitely want to have more than just chump change, but it's something.
Yeah, and I think if Guardian 5 were to win out on at least, you know, 2 or 3 more rounds, then I wouldn't say they would be in a good spot, obviously, but it's still something to work with as opposed to their current state.
Early Molotov into Cons, Wawa making the necessary adjustments to make sure there's not going to be early mid presence. Intimate is able to get a kill as well. So lots of early control already being established. Ion's also in a bit of a tricky position, and that flashbang actually puts him in a terrible spot. His position's given up entirely, and Freaky's able to capitalize. 3 on 5 now. Even with Freaky being low, the resources are simply not going the way of Guardian 5. OK is able to simply swing out of Palace while they're tunnel vision on Connector, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah, and Team Wawa, I think they're just having a bit of fun in this game at this point. As we can see that they've completely left the bomb at their base. No intention of at all of actually...
oh yeah, they're just hounding him down at this point. I mean, who the hell plays the objective, right? We're out here on a deathmatch server, and unfortunately, it's something we foresaw a little bit, right? Like, as much as you and I would like to hype Guardian 5 up, say, you know, they're the underdogs, that's the narrative, that's the storyline. Reality's often a lot more disappointing.
Okay, I'm not sure what those incendiary grenades were accomplishing, because
It's Mid-J. Great little molly to try and get Aram off of that angle. CT side players being pushed back off. And again, they're just biding their time. Like, I would like to say bide their time as if there was going to be, as if that pent-up energy was going to yield rounds afterwards, but they're not biding anything. They're just waiting this map out at this point. 11-4, near guaranteed now for Wawa. 4 on 2 pistols. Obviously, Guardian 5 just want to try and get away with at least at Famas. What's their money looking like? Okay, not too great. 0 on Melkor, 50 on Aram. I mean, you could You could scrape together all of their money and you could triple it, and you would still be at less than half the money of OK. So
Oh, okay.
at least he gets away with something, right? And that something could actually be relatively big in not in the grand scheme of things, but in the scheme of the round. The scheme of the round, does that make any sense? I don't think it does. This is what happens when I do broadcasts after Iftar, and it's like 11 p.m. Is it 11 p.m.? What is it, 12? Yeah, it's closer to 12, actually. Great little push over towards middle again. This is something that has consistently worked out for Guardian 5, actually. Just allowing their players to have a little bit more liberty in what kind of approach they want to take, you know? Malcor's MP9 has been incredible whenever they've had resources go over towards middle. That's ended up working out. And generally speaking, I wouldn't like this, but this is one of those rare teams where having individual player liberties be respected, it's ending up working out. So I'd like to see a little bit more of that. And the ideal position to do that, the ideal position to have those liberties at play, you know what that is? That's the terrorist side.
Yeah. And now 11 and 4, and it doesn't really seem like Guardian 5. I mean, for sure they need to win this first pistol round. If they don't, then the game's pretty much over, right? Because the bonus will be going in favor of Team Wawa in that case. And already Guardian 5 going to make a very aggressive play from that library.
Oh man, look at the rotations as well, right from the CT side. Wawa are already banking all of their resources over towards A. 3 players already pushed up into CT, and as this T-side presence comes through, this is going to be a shooting gallery from both sides. A wild, wild west showdown coming through, 3 versus 2. And the T's end up winning out the engagement over towards CT spawn. Shots do start to come back though, and Smudge is able to take down Weedfly. Is looking for more action. Gets a headshot onto HF and brings it down to just Arum, who's trying to keep them off the bomb off the back of Just Ramp. Smoke being deployed as well. It forces his hand. Arum needs to try and push through, but Smudge has a kit and he should be able to hold down the fort. What a start of the round by Guardian 5, but an equally or even better finisher from Wawa.
Yeah. And now 12 and 4. Bonus is going to go in favor of Team Wawa, and I have to say even though we knew from the start that Team Wawa were a much more experienced team, I thought that Guardian 5 would be able to put up a bit more of a fight. An even split coming out from Team Wawa. Guardian 5 again choosing the same strategy of maximizing their push from just one spot. This time around it's the Palace. But would it work out as Team Wawa? They have them outgunned with that M4 in position.
Again, keep in mind, when they do decide to push into B, they're still going to have to wait for the bomb to rotate through, so by the time they can actually get their resources in, the CTs are already going to be ready, and Smudge should just be able to mow them down here. He's in a very difficult spot to come past. Flashbang is able to assist him as well, and yeah, it's pretty much a mow down. But the interesting thing about the strategy is that that is not the final gambit. The gambit is to take that bomb all the way back to A. Let's see if this ends up working out.
This will give them enough time for HF, or I'm assuming it's half fun, right? To plant himself over here is something that they're not going to be expecting. He's going to let 1 player cross, 2 players cross, 3 players cross, and he's going to try and get them all. He gets 2 and gets the 3rd as well.
No, it's Weedfly to close it up. But anyway, that was a great bout of trigger discipline right there. Nobody checks CT spawn. And HF, he plays a long game there, waits it out, lets 3 players cross, full info, and he's already, the letters GG are already being typed in his head, right?
Yeah.
Great stuff from Guardian 5.
And I have to say that was a bit of a mistake from Team Wawa. They had 3 players, so they had the liberty to rotate at least one of them through the mid site, and rather they chose all 3 to be going from the CT spawn. And that situation would simply not have happened if they did. I mean, they had the time as well. They had the defusal kits.
Now, obviously, Wawa are in a position where they're flirting with the finish line, so they're not going to be too hurt about that, but that's still definitely a bit of a loss. I mean, they ended up losing to Pistols, so that's sort of the same mental pitfall that the Guardian 5 encountered at the start of their CT side. The difference is that Wawa has a lot more rounds than injuries. Should just be an easy cleanup for Guardian 5 this time around. The Deagles not really fighting back as they did at some point. Ion should be able to lap up a couple kills. It gets a little messy, but does end up still being a 4-player save there at the end for Guardian 5.
And now 6-12 Guardian 5, they really are coming back into this game. But again, Wawa, they're not playing with their guns, and really they're not playing with much strategy at all. They're just really, you know, as we have seen time and time again in Valorant as well, just run and gun.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, though, like you'd like to think that they're in the position where they're like, oh, we can just walk into sites willy-nilly. We can just sort of take things at our own pace, play this like a matchmaking game. But think about what's coming up, right? Guardian 5, they're on the cusp of getting 7 rounds, so that's only a 5-round deficit. You see a couple more situations where Wawa try and go for these run and gun things. Suddenly you're tied up. Economy could be breaking down for Wawa. All of those things, especially with Guardian 5 not being as sloppy as Wawa were in some of their anti-ecos. Perhaps we're going to be able to see Guardian 5 in a much stronger position in the next couple of rounds, but that is obviously sort of based off of Wawa making a lot of mistakes as well. Still, something we're going to have to wait out for. This round should be a throwaway, though. Just a few pistols to work off the back hoof, and that's not really turning any heads just yet.
I have to say, Team Wawa, they're really good at reading information. I mean, they seem to be rotating at the exact same time that Guardian 5 choose to rotate. And now they are in prime position to stop this execute on towards the A side. But however, they only have pistols to work with. So they're not really going to be finding much here.
Yeah, he ends up tickling an ear with a USB, but ooh, that's a lot more than a tickle. Executor, you got the Deagle. He's firing off a few shots. Actually in a decent position for the clutch now. 1-on-2, Deagle at hand, flashbang avoided. And he's been able to pick up an AK as well, so a very solid chance here for him to close it out right here. Spots the player in Tetris suffering, but the peek from Ion makes sure that is going to be nothing more than just a flash in the pan.
Yeah, I mean, if he got one of those players down with that AK, then he might have actually taken that round for them. But, you know, getting those kills from the Deagles, that's still a good enough win for them. And now it's afforded them the luxury of buying all of these M4A1s. And now it's going to be the first gun round, I believe, of this second half. And this is really where things will pick up for them.
That's sort of the idea, though. It's not implemented just yet. We're not sure if things are going to pick up. Obviously, the firepower on Wawa has looked a whole lot better than Guardian 5, all things considered, so that is sort of the trajectory we're expecting. The question is whether or not it's going to materialize. The 3-man setup here from the B, from Wawa on the B site. A very conservative style of play for the CT side, actually. They're allowing Guardian 5 to make their own moves, and this might be sort of based off of just allowing Guardian 5 to make their own mistakes, just not expecting them to have a great default and not expecting them to have very elaborate strats. Guardian 5 taking things very slowly. Early smoke being deployed over towards Palace. The player is already snuck into Connector as well, so that's a whole lot of space being gained, but Freaky getting a nice little angle on top of the box. He's been uncontested, and I'm not sure how that ends up happening. They do not check for him, and Bullet's able to fire back a few shots as well. And as this all boils away, we're suddenly in a position where we've only got 20 seconds. Bomb needs to be planted. They're staring down 5 barrels that can quickly rotate at any time. And there's really not a whole lot that ARM can do unless he's got a way to split bullets Matrix style.
Yeah. Open position, misses the op shot. and really not much to do there. And first gun round in the second half, and Team Wawa were able to take it very decisively, and that's very telling. Guardian 5 winning these rounds where they're at a massive gun advantage really doesn't mean much, particularly when you're on a T side. You can just rush a site with those guns and you'll be able to come out on top. But Team Wawa now, they have the economy in their favor. Guardian 5 playing with 5 Deagles, and really, I really don't see how they're going to be winning this round outside of a few lucky flicks.
Again, this is sort of just waiting out the inevitable, right?
Yeah.
They're just getting picked off one by one. Again, Ion doesn't have a whole lot of HP. HF back on the Deagle, so just a waiting game for Guardian 5 to fall into their next round, which they should be able to get, admittedly, since it's not like they're haphazardly just spending all their money or anything. They're not at the point where they're showing any desperation just yet. At least not in terms of economic decisions, even if they are making gameplay decisions that look desperate. Lots of damage, actually, for 2 players being alive. But that damage can only get a pat on the back if you're in a position to capitalize off the back of it. Wawa, they've got a whole lot of money. Yes, it still makes them suffocate a little bit when they lose weapons like that, but 14-7, they're feeling a little too cushy right now. And with Guardian 5 making this investment, suddenly they're in a very tricky spot in the next round. If they end up losing this one, they're almost just going to be throwing in the towel for the final one.
And I mean, you didn't even get to finish your sentence, as Team Wawa have managed to take out 2 of their players, but Guardian 5 have equalized it, so this round can go any way. Oh, but I mean, a 2v1. Have fun, the only one alive. He does have the bomb, so that's at least some good news, but it all depends where he's going to go. I'm sure he knows that there will be one player at any site he chooses to go to.
Playing it slow now. Potential chance at a clutch. He knows that they're staring down the barrel of economic collapse if they end up losing this round. So, I mean, at this point they are anyway, but he needs to try and keep them at 14. Should have been able to get the pick up there and CP spawn, but that suddenly puts him in a very awkward position with the AWP knowing his exact position. 30 seconds remaining. Flashbang to try and cross, but he doesn't quite wait for the flashbang, and OK is able to get him before it pops. 15-7 now, and this is still looking like a very one-sided affair. What scares me even more is that the next map is Inferno, and that is a map that is going to benefit from the team synergies of Wawa even more. Mirage, you can still play it a bit more like a pug, but you're not getting away with that on Inferno, not at all.
Now Team Wawa on a match point. Guardian 5 have no choice but to make some sort of desperate play over here, but already having lost out in 2 players, it doesn't seem like they'll be able to do much. 2 pistols, or rather 2 SMGs and 2 pistols.
Smudge waiting for the flashbang from a teammate, and this should be the closer starting to put a lid on the pot. Another flashbang being primed by a teammate, and yeah, they're just toying with the opposition now. Final man remaining, Arham with a Tech 9, and the final bullets have been landed. 16-7, and that is a landslide victory in the first map for Wawa. I mean, not a whole lot to say about that, right? Not much competition from Guardian 5. Yes, they're able to get 7. They're able to get 7 rounds, but at the end of the day, a lot of that was just flashes in the pan. You see a couple positions where they're able to get some nice deagle shots. You see a couple positions where they're able to bring it to the clutch but not quite close it out. Unfortunately, that's not going to cut it. Wawa is a team that is not here
Yeah.
for any mercy whatsoever. So, heading into Inferno soon, Talha, any thoughts?
I mean, Guardian 5, I mean, they certainly did a lot better in that second half. The way that first half was going, I really felt scared for them, because that's not how you can play against a team, particularly one that's more experienced than you. But what really worried me was that team Guardian 5, they chose to rely on those cliched plays that only work once, and they started doing that very early on into the first half, starting from the second or third round. So that to me says that, perhaps their confidence is leaking just a bit.
Yeah, a lot of the time it was a bit of a crossroads for them to be in, right? You would often see them go for these desperate plays that would end up working out because they would take advantage of they would take advantage of how good some of their individuals were. The individual liberties would actually end up paying dividends. But then when you do it a few too many times,
Yeah.
Wawa, they take it at their own pace and they're able to close it out. So where I thought I was going to be on a Ramazan transmission, throwing away prizes at people, it's actually Freaky standing on top of phone booth, and he's standing there with a deagle, dishing out damage. But don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back to dish out some more damage on map number 2, Inferno. Short break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Mirage wasn't very merciful to Team Guardian 5, unfortunately. But they still have some prospects left.
Yeah.
They've got a chance at Inferno. And you know what? That Mirage performance, that left much to be desired. That wasn't great. We saw a lot of desperate plays. We saw a lot of bots clutches. We saw a lot of positions where, frankly, they should have won, right? And Wawa shouldn't have been able to clutch that round with Executor and OK being sort of getting things done in tandem over towards the A site. But it's not over just yet. It's not over until it's over. It's not over until it's 16, okay? So, still a chance. Now, is that chance great? Probably not. But there's a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I'm particularly personally a believer that anything can happen right up until that last round. I mean, there was a bit of silver lining in some of those rounds. The first one being that they didn't lose out in a very one-sided way.
Okay, maybe silver lining is a bit generous. It's
bronze lining.
Bronze lining.
There's some sort of lining there.
There is some lining.
There's
like you go to the bakery, you get some cake, and you're like, is there icing? Is there not? Wait, did they just pretend they have? Did they just pretend they put some icing on it with the cream they used to write Happy Birthday? I mean, that counts as icing, right?
Yeah, it definitely does.
But yeah, we're going to be heading straight into Inferno. Okay, apparently I missed a little bit of action, but Wawa is being... Actually, it's Wawa running down Guardian 5. They've got a whole lot of control, and Bullet is able to... Well, I was going to say able to get the kill, but this is very... not so convincing. It's Muche, 1-on-2. And he's already crept all the way into middle. He's trying to isolate a duel, but HF is ready for him. Now again, don't be confused. It's Guardian 5 on the T side. So yeah, there we go. HUD's been fixed as well. And this is something we saw in the last game as well.
Yeah.
Right. Great pistol round from Guardian 5 at the start, but I'm not going to lie. With Wawa's position, they should have been able to get that. I mean, that USP didn't look very pretty.
Well, at least the Guardian 5 have set up themselves to take some of these later rounds as well, immediately going for those AKs and the Galil. But not sure how it's going to work out for them. We've seen what Wawa is able to do with those deagles, but Guardian 5 off to a good start with Beatfly getting that first kill.
Being a lot more careful in their approach this time around. Guardian 5 not willing to make any mistakes, re-smoking arches as well. And now getting ready for the approach over towards the A site. Problem is, Wawa have 4 players readied up like turrets with their deagles. 2 players on the site, 1 in pit, 1 in balcony, so it's about as impenetrable of a defense as it can possibly get with deagles. Problem is, Guardian 5 can actually choose to have a point man sniff them out with this MAC-10, or they could just go and double down on arches. They have nothing to encounter on B. It seems like they're going to be doubling down on A here. It's J with an incredible shot to start things off. A second one as well, a third to come through. Bullet reveals himself late, and Executor's about to get it done as well.
Yeah, that I was not expecting that. I think they should have gone with your strategy of sniffing some of those players out, but they played it differently. But even though they played it a bit differently, one player should not be getting taking multiple players out with just one deagle. Particularly when in that close range where you have an automatic rifle against you.
Okay, so my question is, why doesn't that MAC-10 go first? Jump out of balcony, make it a very difficult duel. That doesn't happen. Instead, they just allow the Arches players to slowly move in. And there's just not a whole lot of coordination going on behind the curtain, right? It's looked very messy, unfortunately, in Guardian 5. They had a much better mental start in the previous in the previous map. They're able to get the pistol. They get the subsequent round, maybe a little bit on top of that as well. But Wawa, they instantly turn things around this time around. Just Glocks. Ooh, juicy nades. Molotov burns up Ayan as well. Freaky is just able to lap up the kills. Nice and easy eco kills coming through. Definitely a nice pad to the stats for the tournament.
I think the last 2 rounds were won in less than 10 seconds of them starting, and
yeah, pretty much.
Really not a good start for Guardian 5. Still a long way to go before those double digits, and now Guardian 5, they do have guns of their own, 5 AKs to play with. Let's see what they're going to manage to do in this round. They seem to be firing shots at nothing currently, but as I said, that Weedfly does get that kill through the smoke, does throw a flash out, is still spraying, causes deals a decent amount of damage, and takes the same amount in return. And now he's pushed out thanks to that Molotov.
I mean, not a terrible trade by any stretch of the imagination for the for the T side. A little bit of damage to get OK off the server and Bullet down to 35 as well. Not bad. They've switched up weapons though, and it's Mutjay's just playing the tried and tested wait the angle and peek. Arm though able to respond. They have the foresight to have an anti-flash ready in this setup. And Bullet, I'm not sure if that's intentional the way he's thrown that smoke. Flashbang readied up now for Freaky to peek out. He's the one man that's got the A1S. The smoke is going to deter them from being able to peek over from Coffin, but he should be able to pop out of the smoke if he does want to get a little desperate. Execute coming through on B site. Bullet, that flash is going to be everything. 19 seconds remaining. He knows he's got the time, and this is where they need to peek out. Bullet at the ready with the MP9, only able to get one, and actually, it's not even the kill for him. It's HF getting Melkor. Just a little bit of friendly damage.
An Executor, I'm surprised he's still going for this play. I'm not really sure if he's going to be able to do anything. Perhaps it would be a good idea to just save that AK.
Listen, don't give any players ideas to save on Inferno. Like that just isn't right. Okay, that is not allowed in CS anymore. Okay, I thought that was gonna get a lot worse, but crisis averted.
Guardian 5, I'm glad at least, you know, in the first gun round for both of these teams, they did come out on top. You know, and that's still a massive improvement from the previous match where, or the previous map where I don't think they were able to take any of the gun rounds.
Great opener from WeFly again. He's been instrumental to the success of Guardian 5 so far. You know, the previous round, and now in this round as well. Nice little opener. Definitely setting the pace. And honestly, I think this is what Guardian 5 need. Just have those individuals turn up, get those opening frags, and then slow down their pace a little bit to try and play off the back of it. Because realistically speaking, I think Wawa are just going to have the better setups, right? They've got a lot more practice drilled in. They've got all of that in their favor. So it really just comes down to their individual shining. If Guardian 5 want to have a chance, and you know, I'm trying to shed a positive light on it, but Insmaj is shedding bullets. Very nice cleanup from Awawa. It did look like after Executor's demise there at the start in the first 10 seconds, Guardian 5 would have been able to convert at least something, but it's just clean beyond that.
And Team Wawa, they're sitting at double the amount of money almost that Team Guardian 5 have, having purchased that AWP, and that's going to be deadly, you know, up on this map in the mid position. And really, Guardian 5, they're already showing quite a bit of lapse in their strategy in how they're choosing to rotate. And really, rotations are what is key up on this map. This map is so funneled that you have very few entrances, only 3 ways to enter on to these sites.
Not really sure why we're seeing a pause, actually. I think it might be a technical timeout, actually. Okay, never mind. No need to speculate any longer. It's gone. It's a thing of the past. And the past never lives.
I think the past always lives. It's called trauma for us.
Okay, I think I should be agreeing with the doctor, but I am still in denial of my personal trauma, so we're gonna try to call that a difference of opinion. You need to contact me later for that therapy. Speaking of counseling, I think Guardian 5 might need some after the trauma that's about to occur over here on Banana. Utility at the ready from Wawa. They're going to be trapped courtesy of the Flames and the nade combo, and Smudge just trying to nail some damage through the smoke. Didn't realize that Weed is tucked into a corner, and he might... Oh, there it is. He's given up his position, but he's able to get bullet off the server, so that's something. Ayan being able to pick up an AK-47 as well. How the hell is OK ready for that? Even tries to go for the follow-up shot, but his aim just doesn't support him in that instance.
Oh, he's gonna die here. He does not
he's
see
not
Malcor.
ready for the Tech 9 at all.
But Malcor also does not
No! Malcor's not ready for it either! And there's no way the communication's gonna happen in time. Okay, you're in a great position. Bombs drop. Now he's ready with the P2, but oh, that could have been a lot better.
Oh, damn. That was one hell of a coincidence.
No, man, that... It's crazy because we thought Malcor was playing 4D chess, but we were watching 5-dimensional chess.
I have to say, this map is a lot more evened out than the last one.
And that's surprising because I thought Wawa's synergy would just be exacerbated by how team-based Inferno is. Surprisingly enough, Wawa, or rather Guardian 5 have been able to get a whole lot of banana control, even though Wawa has have previously played a very banana-heavy setup. So the fact that Guardian 5 is willing to contest it regardless of the amount of presence is both concerning and a testament to their confidence.
They are going to be at a very heavy advantage should they choose to move in towards this B site. But only 2 players of Wawa dare to defend it. They will have to make a move soon though, as Wawa. They are going to rotate if they don't see anything up on the A side.
Oh, execution's already about to come in though, and Smudge not able to connect his shots, and they've been able to clear out every area on this bomb site. Comes down to the 3-on-3. Ayan not looking too hot on HP, and HF is quickly going to be picked off by the AK of OK. AK of OK, that's got a nice ring to it. But a chance to keep them off the bomb now. Ayan playing off the back of the pillar. AWP situated in Banana. Freaky should be able to clear out triple as well, so that certainly narrows down the approach. Smoke over towards Banana makes it certainly easier to get past that AWP. Ayan needs to hit his first shot, but OK is not going to allow that to happen. Aram now trapped behind the smoke. He's got 100 points of health, but unfortunately he's going to have to give up his position every single time he pulls that trigger. And he quickly realizes that his best option is to tuck his tail and run away. Wawa on 5.
Aram does manage to save that op though. What was concerning was the lapse in the time, or at least the delay that they took to plant that bomb or to take that site, because they were faced in a 5v2 situation. And sure, they did lose out on 2 of those players, but they had ample time to position themselves, ample time to stop that retake.
Again, Guardian 5 slowly inching into Banana. It's something that Weedfly has been able to consistently deliver. You know, I mean, he's not even going positive right now, right? But the impact frags have definitely been there. 2 times he's been able to get opening duels on Banana, and consistently he's been able to creep up to the point where Wawa can't really suffocate them over towards Banana. They've been entirely disallowed from getting early information on Banana unless they go for a very heavy presence with 3 players. Aram peeking in with the AWP position given up now. Smoke deployed towards Arches, and that Molotov is going to keep Guardian 5 away for a second.
Melkor has infiltrated the apartments. But Team Wawa, they're content with just sitting where they are.
Preemptive smoke being deployed by Freaky, so that Molly's not going to do jack. Freaky's ready for it. Bomb drop now out in the open, and it's going to be a difficult duel. Freaky navigating very carefully around the smoke, but he's going to get caught out by Melkor. Bullet and Insmuche now in a 2-on-3. 19 seconds remaining, but the bomb has plenty of time.
And this should be Guardian 5's round to take. They do have a massive advantage.
Should. Yes.
They've even dropped the op in favor of the AK.
Yeah, that's just a testament to their intentions right now. Want to give themselves the best chance of clearing out multiple angles. They definitely want to try and go for this 2 versus 3, but the timer's ticked down so far where now I'm starting to question it a little bit, right? And the fact that they're not able to get an early kill, that just means that one of them is already going to be tucked into the B site. Yeah, I believe Insmuche instantly backed off after he's not able to get anything on short. I guess they were just waiting for a prong to show itself over towards short, and that's a rough bomb radius right there. 2 guns being lost and nothing. The rebuys are going to be very difficult as well. Definitely going to be some utility missing. Ion's down to the Galil. There's some utility missing on HF, so not fully locked and loaded as they'd like to be.
Oh, very early conflict or clash coming out there at the banana site. But Wawa, they're very comfortable. We've noticed whenever that there's a clash early on into map, it's always Team Wawa that comes out ahead.
I wouldn't really agree with that because Guardian 5 have actually been able to consistently win out early duels. But the problem is, beyond that point, what you said just fully applies, right? Guardian 5, successful in early duel, no conversions.
Yeah.
And that's where you start to wonder whether or not the pacing of the team is right. Insmuche being boosted up so the smokes and mollies aren't going to affect him. They're going to be pushing straight into the B bomb site, and they're not ready for him at all. Are able to get 1. Refrag is available. Bullet is able to get 2 before he eventually falls, and it does come down to the 3 versus 2, but with Freaky's HP being the way it is and OK not having a weapon to work off the back of, this is still very much a round that Guardian 5 should have in the bag.
Yeah, particularly because Freaky very low on HP.
Ooh, okay. Oh. Opening kill collected, but Aram is still wiggling around this triple box. Executor is trying to get the better of him. Nearly a clutch attempt by Aram there. He even gets Executor as he's trying to rush him down on triple, but OK's might is a little too difficult to get past. Is it though? Very close, very close. It got a little scary there for a second.
Picking up that op as well. Oh, that Guardian 5 player that died to that deagle, I mean, that really should not have happened. He really had no reason to peek out. Could have just allowed some of Wawa's players to come to him. And now Team Wawa, 6-4, throwing off some Molotovs and frag grenades just to keep Guardian 5 pushed out a bit. Oh, but Wheatfly coming off with a nice flick with that deagle, taking out Smut. But Team Wawa, they managed to get a return frag of their own with the deagle.
Yeah, honestly, Executor is just running circles around them. They're feeling a little out of their depth right now. Aram's picked off. I mean, he should be picked off very soon by Executor if he peeks out. Nope, Aram does have a slap ready for him. But, again, Wawa are sort of nestling back into the position where they're feeling pretty comfortable, honestly.
Yeah, and
We saw this trend on Mirage as well, you know, the early few rounds, it kind of felt like Guardian 5 had a bit of contention, but then it just ended up not going their way whatsoever.
Yeah, in Guardian 5, they really don't have much more leeway should they lose this round. They won't have anything to buy, and that'll just snowball Team Wawa. I mean, there are only 3 rounds remaining, so if Team Guardian 5 lose this one, they're going to be losing the next 2 as well, and that's simply a lead that you do not want to be playing with or playing against.
It's a little unfortunate that it's Inferno that we're watching, because Guardian 5, on any other map, they would be thrilled to know that they're heading into the CT side next, but Inferno is just not that map where the CT side is going to yield many dividends, so gonna have to fight tooth and nail throughout the entirety of the game. And brackets control now slowly being established. And Melkor ready for the apartments pop as well. OK playing very close in contention with the AWP. And Guardian 5, they're not willing to budge just yet. Just waiting out their time or biding their time. Freaky not having given up his position just yet. And the longer they wait, the harder this is going to get. They only have 2 smokes. They've got a Molotov that they've thrown over to Aram as well. 30 seconds remaining now, and the audio cues certainly make it a lot easier for Freaky to know what's about to come through. Freaky finally revealing himself, 2 kills collected, and that is pretty much all she wrote, with OK adding 2 to the tally.
And now 8-4. The Guardian 5 don't really have any room to buy pistols. They're going to be buying up those Tech 9s. 3 Tech 9s, in fact. And not really sure what that is supposed to accomplish, but anyway, they're going to try their best, already using up the limited economy that they have. And it looks like it's going to be an apartment rush.
Yeah, unfortunately, that apartment rush is going to be met with very deadly force. Wawa now flirting with the idea of double digits, and shouldn't really be a whole lot of stopping power to well break them down at this point. Guardian 5, they've got 4 rounds. They should be able to piece together enough money in this round, but beyond that point, not really much fighting force. I think InsmutJ just timed out. Yeah, so should be a bit of a technical timeout while we figure this out. But yeah, honestly, I'm just a little disappointed that Guardian 5, despite their decent early round performances and the fact that they're able to get so much space, they're not doing anything with that space or that initial impact. You know, they're able to get into brackets, but then they go for the strategy where they just turtle up. And turtling up is not going to work against Wawa, who are playing very reactionary. Like, for example, you know, Freaky is stuck in that cubby. They've got a Molotov, they're not using it. The early Molotovs that they did use, all wasted off the bat. All wasted for space that they didn't actually capitalize on. No take on Banana, nothing of that sort. Even when they turtle up towards middle, they don't have any extra. They don't have any additional prong becoming a menace over towards apartment, not being a menace towards B. So there's no incentive for Wawa to actually rotate anything over. They're just taking it chill. They're like, okay, timer's ticking down. This is advantageous for us. In fact, they've got it read down to a T to the point where they even preemptively throw utility before they even see those mollies coming at all. Like, I'm not talking reactionary whatsoever.
I was curious to see why Insmut picked up that P90.
Okay.
I guess that pretty much answers my question.
A little bit of trolling. It's they hear that ringing sound. Oh, it's actually InsmutJ getting a call from the base department for for picking up the P90. That's the state of the game right now. This is what I've stooped to. Using mainstream memes to keep the audience entertained. Slow creep up into Banana now. Guardian 5. Well, they're going to be met with a smoke. And Bullet has been throwing the smoke consistently where he has a bit of a one-way, and I don't think they've recognized this just yet. Very nice and easy pickup for him. And again, the aggression just doesn't come through from Guardian 5. There's no real collective effort to try and guard each other. There's not really any pairings. Refrags are very difficult to come by, and Smudge with his repositioning, he should be able to buy just enough time for that Coffin player to come in, but actually, this puts them in a decent position to at least try and go for the clutch. Not a whole lot of HP to work with. That nade could have been a lot more deadly, but there's definitely a chance for Guardian 5 here.
Yeah, I was expecting Freaky to get that kill, but Arham goes down, and now it is a 2v1. Make that a 1v1 with HF playing against OK. He does have the advantage, though. He does have the AK versus the AWP. And is he going to go for the full defuse? He will manage to get it. And actually, okay.
That
we can
is
see
cold.
We can see the smiles on Team Wawa's faces right over here.
That is beautiful. That's such a matchmaking thing too. Like, just hold it down. Whatever.
I mean, it's always a 50-50, right? Last round of the first half. Team Wawa already coming out ahead, putting a stop to that early push.
HF! Nice couple of collections there early on, and Weedfly doing what he does best over towards Banana. And Smudge and Freaky now have to try and hold on the onslaught in a 2 versus 3, one player on each site, but the rotation will be coming through from Freaky very soon. Banana play coming through, and Smudge is able to get one, quickly realizes that he needs to back off and try and buy time for his teammate. Flashbang to come through, peeks out with it, doesn't quite connect. And that just leaves Freaky to try and pick up the pieces.
But I mean, he has an op. He really should not be winning.
Well, there's nothing he can do about it. Last round, he's got to go for this Talha, and he doesn't quite succeed at it. At least they're able to try and keep things as clean as possible. 10-5, not the best scoreline in the world, but definitely not something that is entirely inserviceable. Sort of a similar position as to what we saw in Mirage, right? I believe that was 11-4. Looked very one-sided, honestly, which is why it slips my mind.
But I think this map was a lot less one-sided than the previous one, despite the scoreline. We did see Guardian 5 come out on top in some of these gun rounds in this map, which is what I'd like to see. And now that they're on the CT side, you know, strategy is what counts, and those rotations, they need to be quick on their feet. And already they're coming out on top, having found those 2 frags. But meanwhile, they need to rotate quickly because Wawa, they do have 2 players on this side. Oh, actually.
Yeah, that is rough if you're Wawa. Guardian 5, that is... Do you see that? That's not a single point of HP being taken off of them. How the hell do they manage that? Like, where was that gameplay a map ago? I mean, I can give them credit for the pistol rounds at least, right? They've been good.
I think they've won the pistol round last map, this map, in all of the halves.
I think they have 3 out of 4 pistol rounds at least.
Yeah.
Back to the Deagles now for Wawa. It's not something they've particularly struggled with. I mean, their performance on the Deagles has been stellar. I mean, why the hell are we even buying AKs at that point? Flashbang at the ready. Weedfly peeks into a barrage of Deagles.
Yeah, that was you simply can't run away from there once.
Yeah, the commitment's got to be there, right? You can't half-ass it. Ion already in Coffin. Smoke is going to be buying them a little bit of time for them to at least try and get their positions right before they go for the bomb plant. And I mean, this should be the round for Wawa, for Guardian 5, yes, but Wawa have definitely made a case for themselves. Look at this positioning from Bullet, though. The reverse boost comes in, and although he's punished by Aram, that is just enough time and space being bought for Wawa to potentially make a dent in this round. Now Guardian 5 are feeling a little bit locked down, trying to peek over through the smoke. Deagle shot connects onto Ayan. OK's able to get another one, and a second one through the eyebrows of Arham.
And they're just going to pick up the M4s. I think that's a bit of a disaster for Team Guardian 5.
Oh man, this is
Definitely not where you want it to be.
yeah. I mean, it seems like pistols are a double-edged sword for them. They're amazing at using pistols, but they're also terrible at playing against pistols. And I rest my case. Ion gets away with 2 deagle shots like that. They win pistol rounds every day. It's a bit of a head scratcher right now for Wawa. Like, how the hell did we get in this position? I think Ion is trying to cosplay Happy very quickly from days gone. Only gotten 2 shots just yet.
I'm really surprised at Guardian 5. They're still not rotating.
Yeah, they took their sweet time on the rotate over to from A. Numbers now being punched in. Positions being taken up as well. Guardian 5 definitely do not have the advantage here. They did for a second, but Huawei is able to equalize it.
And now both players having made their way on to the site. They've seen the bomb, but playing only with pistols. They are in a very tough spot, but okay, not finding the kill over there. It takes Bullet to take him out, and now Bullet, he's dead. Oh no, Bullet's still alive actually. It was okay that died. Got confused with that switch up. But I mean, this is what I'm talking about, right? On Inferno, you have to be quick with your rotations. Now, we saw in the last round where Team Wawa, there were only 3 players alive, so much gunfire that there was no way that Guardian 5 did not know that all 3 were present on that B site. And still, 2 of Guardian 5's players were still on towards that A site, and they only managed to come onto the site when the rest of their team was dead. And that's simply not something that you can play with.
Molotov makes this a non-negotiable duel for Aeon that he has to peek into. He's able to get 1, but the price they have to pay for it is Executor running willy-nilly into the bomb site. He's just having a field day with the firing gallery, just taking pot shots here and there. You can see how chill they are about this game when Executor toys around with them on the B side. He just keeps them busy. The rest of his team is cooking up a mean stew over towards A. And interestingly enough, the rotations will all come through Banana. So the player they have situated in CT spawn, he should have not been able to get anything done had that Molotov not come through. Now they have to circle back. They have to run into Freaky, who's ready with an AK.
And I'm not sure what's happening in this round, as I think Team Wawa is hunting Melkor over here, as Melkor will be able to take 1 down, but it really does not matter. The bomb is all the way on towards the A side. Even if he does get that kill, it's going to be Wawa's round for the win. Oh wow. He really could not resist sending out that last shot. I mean,
yeah, just send a message.
(13-6) now, and Guardian 5 outside of the pistol rounds that they've managed to win. Their strategy, their rotations, it's all just very lackluster.
Ooh, great defense actually from the CT side. I liked Aeon's ability to turn up the heat there for a second, but unfortunately that still means that Wawa is able to get free reign over towards the B side. Aram, a chance at a bit of chip damage, but even that's not going to come to fruition. I'm not really sure why one of their players hasn't already rotated over, but he's certainly taking his sweet time, and now he has to book it. Executor playing up close. He's only got 16 points of health, so has to take the risk early on. Trying to move in through the smoke. Aram now in great
that's
position.
going to be
Picks up both.
diffuse.
Easy defuse for sure. I mean, I say easy, but it got down to Melkor being on 8 points of health and Aram on 48, so should have bit my tongue there for a second, but
And the quick rotation, you know, from Guardian 5 is really what made a difference here. They really should have been doing this a lot more, a lot earlier on. in this map and even the previous map, really. And we can see what exactly how much of a difference it made. 13-7 now. With Guardian 5 only having won 2 rounds in the second half, they only have the luxury of losing out on 2 more rounds before the game slips away. Okay. That was an interesting kill.
That tends to happen.
He even gave the AK back.
Yeah, it's called a return on investment. Getting ready for the A-pop now. Only 2 players ready and waiting on the Guardian 5 side. HF being able to take down Smith J, and he's trying to be as much of a menace as possible in mid. But as soon as they allow one of these players to drop, the heat is certainly turned up. Bullet being able to get 2 entries here on the A site certainly makes it a whole lot easier now. Executor, here's the footsteps in the library. And yeah, this is about as packaged of a meal as you can possibly get.
He's going to go for the knife.
He's going to go for the knife. Of course he's going to go for the knife. He's winning 13-7 for God's sake. And with that knife, fortunately, the blood of confidence has also been spilled.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, there's really no coming back from that.
I mean, 14-7, no money in the bank either. And look at their mentality going into this round, right? They're playing for the instant win. They're trying to stop that 14 from progressing any further. They're not playing for the long haul. They're not like, oh, let them get to overtime, we'll have the money, and then we'll slowly work our way up. They're like, no. We either win this round right away or it's GG. We're calling it.
And it might just be GG with Weed Fly falling.
Never mind, actually. Those are some important shots to be missing. AK being picked up by Arm certainly makes things a whole lot easier going into the rest of the round, but I want to see what reaction is going to come out from Wawa. They slowed down their pace a little bit. The bracket splitter starts to recede as well, so no early commitment coming out anywhere. 1 minute and 15 seconds on the clock, so they've got a whole lot of time to try and reclaim some space. Flashbang lined up for OK to progress. He's been able to clear out logs and close cubby. Couple pieces of utility going out as well, and Wawa quickly realized that they have a small window of opportunity to make things work. Arham peeking out with the MP9, a little bit too tunnel vision on the boost box potential. Or the boost ledge, rather. It does mean that they end up receiving a casualty. Molotov is great from Insma J, but he doesn't quite realize that it doesn't extend into the depths of that ledge.
Yeah, there's no way Bullet should be getting this round.
They shouldn't be, but Ion's burnt up. They brought it down to the 1-on-2. Cubby being mollied out. Dark is something he's not going to be able to stick to for long. HF falls, and he should have a little bit of an angle here, but Melkor uses the smoke perfectly. And that's what they were playing for, right? Yeah. That was their gamble, and it worked out.
Again, I think this round was a second example of just how essential a quick rotation really is. Now 14-8. I mean, it's certainly... this map is certainly within reach of Guardian 5, even though the 6-round deficit they face. It's certainly been done before, but they're going to need to play perfectly.
Opener from Bullet into apartment leaves the ace site much more vulnerable than it previously was, and Smith J being able to clear up arches as well. Aram is the only man that can have a say about this, but that conversation is over before it's even brought to the table. Guardian 5 quickly realizing that the 2 weapons they have, they're going to have to try and hold on to them for dear life. Ayan peeking out. Has just his life being extended a little bit further, and Weedfly, you know, he's not ready for this talk at all.
Is he saving his MP9?
Yeah. You know what he's going to do with it? He's going to pass it to Melkor, who's a much better player with the MP9. It would be funny if he actually did. But I mean, they're just grasping at straws right now.
I don't think he'll get to save the MP9.
Should be able to. I mean, he's got the ammo. He's just not got the timing, unfortunately. Should, not did.
You can't save the MP9 with a player whose name is in Smut. I don't even know what that means.
It's actually a very legendary name. It's from Greek mythology. Do you know what it means? It means nothing. Because back in the day, people would just blurt out that word when they didn't know what they were talking about. HF, opening kill with a deagle again. How are their pistols better than their rifles? And again, this continues to stay true. Aram gets a kill with the 5.7 as well. Executor still trying to fight back. I'm not sure if he realizes there's a second player in Banana as well talking to the Cubby, so he's going to have to be a lot more careful about this as he starts firing shots. Ayan knows that that's his window of opportunity. Okay, so you're the coach right now for Guardian 5. What are you telling them?
I mean, the coach for Guardian 5, for us, you always put me in this position where...
Okay,
you know,
I'll make it a whole lot easier.
My only advice is to, like, just, you know...
no, listen, you're telling them to give up. Let me tell you some actionable steps. Step 1, press G on all these rifles. Step 2, open the buy menu. Step 3, buy deagles. That's some actionable stuff from a real pro coach right here. 4-on-4, early control of Banana goes, I would like to say successfully, but they have lost a player as well, so about an even trade. Smoke being deployed in apartments to allow a little bit of space. OK wanting to peek out of boiler as well. HF is being tucked into mini pits, so it's not something that Bullet is going to be able to clear out. But when he does drop, ooh, it's a really awkward angle to try and watch for. Bullet gives off that footstep, but HF is simply not ready for it. Now, Melkor is going to have to try and back this onslaught off. 2 quick kills. That M4 is making stuff happen. And Guardian 5, with Melkor's excellent defense on the A side, they're able to extend their life for yet another round. And that's not just one round. Look at their money.
Yeah, but I mean, the requirement for them is to not make a single mistake, you know, past this going forward. And that's really kind of an unrealistic expectation to have.
Okay, 5 rounds in a row. Definitely not out of the cards, right? Perhaps they... perhaps they can start feeling like they're in the driver's seat after this round because the money's not going to be great for Wawa. Get another round on top of that. Suddenly money's reset. Economy's not looking too good again. Realistically, they only have to get past 3 gun rounds. And I say only 3 gun rounds as if they didn't get completely wrecked on Mirage's gun rounds. But there's still hope. And this map is looking a lot more competitive than what we saw in Mirage.
Yeah, and I mean, I really hope something comes out of this pause because I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be slightly upset if the round lasts around 10 seconds after this pause. Meanwhile, while this map is paused for us, do you miss a ladder?
Do I miss a ladder?
The ladder. Remember on Inferno back in CS 1.6? There used to be the ladder.
I forgot you're that old.
Yeah, I'm actually CS 1.5 old.
Ooh, that's rough. Like like I have to remind myself that somebody needs to be this old to be a doctor. Like I forget that you're not like a teenager. But no, I do not miss the ladder. I do not like ladders. That's why I sucked on train, honestly. Because every one of those damn trains have a ladder. Is Wawa just playing 4v5? No, hell no. He just waited it out. Okay.
I like how the CT squad, and this is something I've noticed on Inferno, they have the SWAT, they have the SAS, they have, you know, a bunch of different special forces all in one team.
Listen. You're okay. So this is where your age is starting to show. Okay, I'm gonna have to roast you right here. The reason they're all in different teams right now is because they just have different agents equipped, man. Those are just custom skins. You're too old for this game.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Like, I know you're used to casting league games and, like, the kind of games where you're not allowed to do that. But we're very chill about the rules when it comes to skins. But yes, the idea behind it is very interesting. You know, having all these special forces together. I think that would just start a fight, honestly.
And now we're going to be heading back into the game. Okay, never mind.
Okay, so we can never officially say that we're back in the game until we actually see there's 5 players. Like, I have no faith in somebody joining on the last second.
Honestly, if I was on team Wawa, if I had to wait another minute, I'd just finish the game. You know, I just
go 4v5
it. Yeah. I mean, it's Inferno, right? There are only 3 ways to enter a site, so really 5 players entering or 4 players entering, not really much of a difference.
That's just BM at that point, It's just BM. Do they have all the players connected now? No. Who's missing? Wait, let me check.
I think it's Freaky.
Yeah, it's Freaky. Of course, this technical timeout gives me a little bit of a chance to talk a bit about our sponsors. We've got Spotcomm, the Esports. We've got KraveMart, GameBird, GamePoint, all some lovely sponsors that are allowing events like this to happen. You know, it really helps the scene grow when all hands are on deck to try and support. And I imagine a lot more brands are going to get involved very soon, you know, with CS2 launching and...
I mean, I think it's the first time I've seen Dawn News as a sponsor.
Yeah. And I imagine, like, brands are going to continue to get involved because, you know, CS2 is going to come out very soon. And with that, there's going to be a lot more vested interest in Asia, especially with how many teams have been coming out of Asia recently. You know, we've had Eruption, we've had Rare Atom, we had IHC, all sorts of different teams that have come out of the Asian region, which of course incentivizes developers and organizers to pay a lot more attention to the Asian scene. And of course, brands want to get involved when the eyeballs are on the game, right? Kind of nice to see that resurgence in terms of things like sponsorships and all that.
I have to say, Freaky really did.
Oh, there we go.
Is this a sub? Or... So I
okay,
actually...
I believe they have a sub in the form of Ricky. Is it Ricky? Is it Reiki? Oh, okay, it's Rocky. Okay, I'm like genuinely scared now for Guardian 5 because like I know the type of player Rocky is, and I feel like no hate to Freaky, but I mean, I'm more scared of Rocky, okay? Also, Rocky is the little brother of OK.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the little brother, but he's the better brother in CS. I'm sorry, okay? You have to hear this when you watch
I
the
mean, the
stream
little
back.
brother is always
better
at video games.
video games, yeah. But they historically can't get girls, is what I've heard. Oh, nice cleanup from Guardian 5's Arham. I mean, that was just meant to be a throwaway round.
Yeah.
15-11. Okay, pretty decent scoreline actually. All things considered, you know, I didn't think we were going to be at this point, but now they've got to pass the true litmus test of Pakistani Counter-Strike. You either have to get past Pokemon, or you have to get past Rocky. And yes, this is this is a testament to how highly I think of Rocky. Okay, comparing him to Pokemon. The player, not the game.
I mean, I think we can compare the CS scene here to Pokemon, the game.
No, not at all. Pokemon is like the biggest franchise in the world.
Oh, no, not in that sense.
As in it's great?
With, sheer amount of memery that takes place.
Oh, okay. I'm all for the memes. Apartments pop now, about to come through though. Molotov does incentivize them to split up their forces a little bit. OK is going to be popping out a boiler now, and flashbangs are being readied up by the player in brackets. HS boosted up on top of the balcony, gets taken away by OK, who's popping out a boiler, takes full control of short, and now this could potentially be over right here for Guardian 5. A 3-on-5 retake, numbers being punched in, and Aram at a window of opportunity where he could have potentially taken the bomb out of their hands. Bomb now starting to take down. Aram already moving into short. Rocky not wanting to peek in from Graveyard whatsoever. So there's a very big lack of information. Aram, though, having crept up already, is able to get one, able to get two as well. Ayan is starting to become a menace as well, but Executor mows them down with his AK. A great attempt at a potential clutch, but it all falls apart. Team Wawa win the tournament. Your champions for NGES Ramazan Fest. Ramazan Esports Fest. I'm terrible at names.
Yeah, and I'm glad that second map was so much closer than the first one. The team Guardian 5 did manage to fix quite a lot of issues that they were having, such as making those early rotations, or making those quick rotations rather, based on the information that they had, and they did manage to fix that. But it unfortunately did not happen in time. And, the best that we can hope is that Team Guardian 5, they learn from this lesson and go forward.
And honestly, that wasn't a terrible performance on Inferno at all. That got a whole lot closer. And a lot of times, Wawa were really sweating. They were getting destroyed by Deagles. There were some good clutches in there. And a lot of the time, I was really surprised by how much space they were able to get over towards Banana, right? That was incredible stuff. Weedfly being able to do what he did on the T side, that was great. And a lot of their mid-rounding looked good. Problem is, they would often find themselves blank out when they were in the mid-round. Like, yes, some of it was good, but when they would blank out, they would suddenly find themselves in a position where they just turtle up, allow Wawa to play in a very reactionary way, and that's pretty much all she wrote. Congratulations to Team Wawa. I mean, they've cemented the fact that they're currently the top dogs of Pakistani Counter-Strike, qualifying for IESF, winning out this tournament as well. They've pretty much done it all as far as this year is concerned.
Yeah, and as for Guardian 5, we are seeing a resurgence in the CS scene. So I do hope that Guardian 5, they continue to play, and I do hope that some of the other teams that did not make it to the finals, that they continue to play as well, because, I think that the Counter-Strike scene, the discrepancy between the first and second position, it's a lot less than the discrepancy we have in other esports games, such as Valorant, because I don't ever think I've seen Team Exploit actually lose, right? So this game was a lot closer than some of the other games that we have. So I do hope that every other team out there continues to practice. Well, I mean, practice is something that's too big of an ask for Pakistani teams, but I at least hope that, I do hope that they continue to play, together as a team,
definitely.
because that's consistency is way more important in my opinion.
Yeah, especially with Pakistani CS starting to have a bit of a resurgence, with brands getting involved and all of that, there is now all the more incentive for teams to start getting their grind on, and of course trying to dethrone the top dog that is now Team Wawa. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for our sponsors as well. I'm sure you've been seeing the banners as well. You've got Spotcomm, you've got DN Sports, you've got GameBird, GamePoint, KraveMart. We've got amazing sponsors that have allowed us to make this happen. So of course show them some love as well. And of course, if you enjoyed this action, there's going to be a whole lot more tomorrow, but it's going to be on a different game. It's going to be on Valorant. So tune in tomorrow, same time. This was Wild Deity and Tultrus signing out.